One of the top questions we get is about LTP versus HTP in submasters or playback faders. Within the lightShark, we're able to assign any playback fader to fade LTP channels, HTP channels, or both. And so to begin, I want to share with you an example and then explain what these terms mean and show you how they can help you to create a better show. So I'm going to select these lights here, and I'm just going to press Find and record that to a new cue. Now, when I press Find, it does two things in the lightShark. It turns the light on, and it also tilts it down to a position that we call 50-50, or the center of the pan and tilt of the light's movement. So if I clear this out and I bring up my playback, what we can see here is the second I bring it up, the cue fires. You can see that there, that it brings the position, it brings the shutter open, and it does that instantly. However, the dimmer I have fader control of, and this is an important distinction. Within the lightShark, dimmers are HTP, or highest takes precedence. This means that if I went ahead and selected these lights, used just the dimmer, say I put a second fader of it, and recorded that to a fader, I would now have highest takes precedence type control. So if I go over here, now I could bring down this fader, I could bring it up, but no matter what I do, out of these two faders that both contain the intensity for those lights, the highest one is always going to win. So now if I put this one at 50%, I can bring down the first fader, which has the intensity on it. But once I get below 50%, this fader no longer does anything. It works above 50%. That's highest takes precedence. That whichever fader has the highest value is going to get the output to the stage. Now let's talk about LTP. So we'll go into our settings here for the playback, our playback options. We can access them there. Or if we're on this main screen, we can pop this up and access it. And we have the ability to turn on and off the ability to control the HTP channels. So that's that intensity control most often in the lightShark. And we also have the ability to control LTP channels. Let's turn on just LTP channels for this fader. I'm going to go actually to the virtual playback so it's a little more clear. Now this is a little bit of a poor example simply because there's strobe on this. But as you can see, if I bring this fader down, the pan and tilt comes in as I bring the fader up. That's LTP control. Okay, so I've literally taken HTP off, so it's not controlling the intensity anymore. And I've turned LTP on. And now anything that is not intensity, not an HTP control, which is a latest takes precedence type parameter, will be faded by this fader. If I turn both on, we can see that now I can turn this one off. I have control of intensity and everything else. You can see that it works quite well, but if you have something like a strobe channel, then it doesn't always fade smoothly because strobe channels have a lot of weird ranges to them. However, I want to run you through a quick one more example about how this can make your life better. So let's go ahead. I'll do two more examples actually, and just go to position. We're not touching anything else since our last clear. And we're going to tilt these all the way up to the sky and pan them out towards the audience. Up in the air like that. Now we'll record this on a new fader. And on this fader, we're going to enable controlling LTP channels. Now, there aren't any HTP channels on this fader, on this playback that we've recorded, so it doesn't matter if this is on or not. Now I'll clear my programmer, at which point, as I bring this fader up, you can see I've got pan tilt control from the point of 0 all the way up. So I can literally bring my lights anywhere that I need them to be between 0% and where they're pointing at the end of this cue. When I bring the fader all the way down, it releases and they go to wherever they were previously assigned by another Playback. Color is another great example as to how LTP works within the lightShark. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off everything except my first fader that had that find command. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fader controlling LTP because I don't want it to take over. Back to these K10s, I'm going to go ahead, bring in the red to full, take our green, blue, and warm white to 0. So now we've got a fader, if I record this, that will only control red. Clearing this, I'll go to the virtual playback, turn on the LTP control, and as I bring this fader up, I'm able to get control of that red. Now notice the lights were in white before from this other fader, and so as I bring up this red, it does take over immediately at the bottom of the fader. If you wanted to get around that, however, it's not too difficult. I would just go ahead, create a new fader, make sure that my shutter's open, make sure that my dimmer's open, and on this particular light, that opens up everything I need. So I could record that, play it back and bring up that fader, at which point now my red fader gives us a nice smooth fade from 0. To take it up one more quick notch, I could go ahead then and grab the next color. So I could go ahead and grab green. Okay, bring that up to full, record that to a new playback, clear this out, set the LTP to be on for the fader control. And now you could see I could pretty easily make a red, green, and blue set of faders and be able to color mix whatever colors I wanted for these particular lights on the fly. I hope this video helps you understand some of the differences between HTP and LTP and how setting up that fader-based control in the playback settings can really give you some versatile options to get some really fine-grained control of your lights on your next show. Be sure to subscribe here on WorkPro Lighting if you are enjoying these videos, and we'll see you in our next video.